Happy Friday and welcome to this week's real estate tip of the week. Today I want to talk about lifetime value. This is a very common concept in every industry except for real estate, it seems. And if you are in this for the long term, meaning it doesn't matter whether you started 10 days ago or 10 minutes ago, but if you're in this business for a long term, you intend to be here 5, 10 years from now and build a valuable business, then the lifetime value is something that you absolutely need to take a look at. Now, there are three components to driving earnings in any business, including real estate. And they're number one, how much you make per transaction, and the frequency of purchases. And number three, how many referrals you're going to get, how many customers you're going to get, how many customer units you have. So if you increase your number of customers, obviously you make more money. If you increase the number of times that the customer does business with you, then obviously that increases your income. And if you can increase your earnings per transaction, that increases your income. Now, lifetime value touches on all of those. The first step is to determine how much money are you going to make on this transaction. And unlike other businesses, unless you're working with an investor, most buyers or sellers are only going to transact every once in a while. But that being said, they will do repetitive transactions. And virtually everyone that is doing very well right now at this point in time is doing business with their sphere and their past clients. So your clients will do multiple transactions. If you become their real estate provider, their real estate counsel, so to speak, then odds are 5 years from now, they're going to sell and buy something else. Maybe next year, they're going to purchase an investment property, and maybe they'll purchase multiple investment properties. So your clients will have multiple transactions. But then there's another component, and that is referrals. So when you have one transaction, what does that really translate into? And I can tell you, when I ran my team, that my rule of thumb that I always wanted to meet was that every listing would generate one more listing plus two buyers right off the bat. And then, of course, you have the repeat business component and referrals long term, especially if you practice the ninja way. So the point I'm trying to make is when you have one transaction, you can look at it as, okay, this is a $600,000 transaction. I'm going to make $18,000 on it, and that's it. Or you can look at this client as a long-term customer, as a long-term client, and say, okay, what is my long-term value from this customer based on this transaction plus future business? Let's say they're a buyer. At some point, they're going to become a seller and buy again if they stay in this market area, plus referrals that I can expect to get from this client because I'm going to exceed all of their expectations in the business that we're doing. And so if you add that up, then you will find that that one transaction, that one client will ultimately translate into multiple transactions. And instead of just making $18,000, the lifetime value over the next 10 years, let's say, could be several $100,000 if you take into account the fact that they're going to sell at some point, they're going to buy again, you're going to get referrals, then you're going to get referrals from those transactions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So some good business planning that will really be eye-opening involves determining what is the lifetime value of your customer. If you've been in this business for any amount of time, let's say 5 years plus, go back and just look at your customers and just ask yourself, okay, this person that I sold a home to 5 years ago, what was the ripple effect of that? And what was the net lifetime value of that customer? And what can I do to improve that lifetime value of your customer? A lot of businesses lose money on their first few sales because the lifetime value of that customer is so significant. Now, in real estate, I don't suggest that you're going to lose money on your first sale. But that being said, you can be short-sighted and say, okay, I'm only going to make this much money on this transaction, and therefore I don't want to spend more than I have to on marketing or on providing an amazing client experience or providing, surprises and gifts. Or you can say, you know what, my lifetime value of a customer over time is $200,000. And so because of that, I'm going to invest in this relationship. Not only am I going to knock their socks off in their first transaction, but I'm also going to continuously provide surprises, gifts, incentives, invites, client appreciation events, and so forth to solidify that customer and maximize that lifetime value. And so you may find, okay, over the next 10 years, or let's say 5 years, I'm going to spend $1,000 a year on this customer. So that's going to be $5,000 over a 5-year period. And the ripple effect is going to be that I'm going to earn $200,000 as a result of referrals, additional business, repeat business, and so forth. So take the time to do some planning and realize that 99% of realtors are only looking at that first initial transaction. If you want to be part of the 1%, you need to do what the 99% are not doing. And it starts with your planning when you decide, what does my business look like? Every customer that comes into your system is going to be exponentially worth more when you look at that lifetime value of the customer. If you have questions about this, I'll be happy to chat with you. Direct message me. If I get enough interest, I might even do a webinar or a training session, a live training to go over that. This is a fascinating concept. And once you understand the concept of lifetime value for the customer, then you can really exponentially accelerate your business. Hope you found this helpful. I'm Thomas Heimann, founder of Cloud Title. And as always, tune in for my Friday real estate tip of the week. Thank you so much for taking the time, and have a fantastic weekend ahead.